Hi, I'm Rob Wright with Dark Reading here at the Dark Reading News Desk at Black Hat USA 2025 in Las Vegas. And I am joined by Renee Burton, VP of Threat Intel at Infoblox. Hi, Renee.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
I'm very excited to talk about this because you did a session earlier today. Let me get the title right. No Hoodies Here, Organized Crime in Ad Tech.
Yep.
Talk to me about this.
Yeah, so what we're talking about is how organized crime, and specifically Russian actors or Russian-speaking actors, have created an entire ecosystem within the advertising technology, the ad tech industry, to cloak and hide the types of malicious activity that they're doing, which ranges from scams all the way to information stealers.
Okay, this is in my wheelhouse, so I'm going to try not to get too excited or fanboy out here. So what is Vex Trio? Let's kind of try to define that because that's an interesting part of this whole equation.
Yeah, so Vex Trio, our understanding of them has morphed over the last 3.5 years that we've been tracking. We originally thought of them as a traffic distribution system, which is a way in which you cloak domains, hide domains from people to be able to tell what they are. Mm-hmm. And we thought, oh, these guys are kids, right? They're hackers in hoodies in their parents' basement. That's what you expect from all malicious traffic. And then as we grew, we started to understand, okay, well, these are actually a larger, group of enterprise. And then over the last 10 months, we realized it's actually dozens, almost 100 companies that we've been able to identify. So it becomes a question of, well, what is Vex Trio?
Right.
Is it the traffic distribution system? Is it the pay processors? Is it their construction companies? Is it the people? It's kind of an amorphous thing.
A blob, let's say, that just keeps getting bigger and bigger.
Blob.
So how were you able to trace all of this? Because I know TDSs, they're designed to redirect users.
Yep.
And you can have these complex redirection chains that, a user starts at this site, this WordPress site over here, and then they end up, many clicks down the road at a malicious destination, like you said. So how are you able to track and find like all of these different pieces to this Vex Trio equation? How hard was that?
Yeah, that's definitely been hard. We've put thousands of hours into it. There's no doubt. We've definitely nerded out on it. There's a couple of ways. So in one way, our wheelhouse is DNS. So we have for years been tracking them through DNS and DNS fingerprinting, which is like combinations of how they leave footprints of themselves. So we're able to track them in that way. But at the same time, we still were in this mindset of these guys must be hackers, somewhere, right? So the ultimate leading piece of information was a Russian YouTube video that was about cost per action, so affiliate marketing.
And I hate it when that happens.
I know, it's like crazy. So there's one single screenshot in there that was mind-blowingly revolutionary, which basically said, okay, these URLs that you guys have been tracking since 2022 and people have seen since 2016, 2017, they're actually this company, Los Pollos. And from there, we ended up really unraveling through the internet.
Right. And Los Pollos is a reference apparently to the popular TV show Breaking Bad.
Yes.
Which was about drug dealing, illicit meth cooking. I mean, they didn't make it very subtle.
Yeah. Money laundering, right? Los Pollos, and they have Taco Loco as well.
And they've got images on their website. It's very unusual. Again, not particularly subtle. But Los Pollos was just sort of like one part then of like a larger, I guess, network of companies that were involved in TDS activity with Vex Trio then?
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
And so were you surprised that these companies that I know they seem legitimate, but that they were just engaged in this type of activity?
Yeah, very much so. And in fact, we're still at that, right? Where I feel like we're walking on like a lake of ice, that's kind of in March. And you're like, okay, crime. I'm here on crime. And then I put my foot out and I'm like, is that crime?
Yep.
Not sure. And then pretty soon we find some crazy scanned image from 2000 And we're like, oh yeah, crime. And then we step out a little bit further. And it is really hard to tell the boundary between where legitimate and gray and black industries work.
So is that part of the advantage then for, I guess, whatever threat actors are involved with Vextrio, that there's an advantage to using seemingly legitimate companies to do this activity because it may blend in or because it may be just assumed by threat researchers or security vendors that it's just your normal, because it's not illegal to redirect traffic. It's not illegal to operate a TDS, to send someone to an advertising landing page. So is that part of the advantage of I guess, having these companies work on behalf of this larger cybercrime ecosystem, I guess?
Yeah, they're definitely trying to get away with the plausible deniability that we see with Western companies, right? We all know Facebook ads are often used for a variety of, malicious purposes.
All the time, yeah.
But Facebook isn't guaranteeing you, right? They're not fully sussing out their publishing affiliates or their advertising affiliates, so they're not really guaranteeing the world. They're acting truly as a middle person. On the other hand, these criminal ones, they vet both their publishing affiliates and their advertisers, and they're very proud of that.
Yep.
So in the end, that might well be their downfall, in the sense that they don't have plausible deniability because they know who these people are and who these people are.
Yes, yeah. And you had said something interesting about that, in this case, the Eastern European or Russian speaking threat actors are a little bit different than maybe China Nexus threat actors that maybe prefer to make up fake companies or use fake names and aliases and try to hide what they're really doing. And in this case, that's not how it's going. They're using real names, real companies.
And they're operating in Europe.
Yeah.
So there's all this business transparency laws there.
Yeah.
And there's a beautiful set of data on the internet about companies.
Right. And if it wasn't for that darn data, then they'd probably get away with it. But I guess there is.
Yeah. And literally, I think people would be surprised to know that there are countries in Europe, including like Czechia, who have scanned every document going back to the late 90s, and they're not OCR'd. You do have to visually go through them, and you don't know that language, but basically pop it up, scan, pop it up, scan.
Right. So what do you think is going to happen now with Vextrio then, now that you've done the session, the research is out, you show a pretty vast network of companies that are involved, you name names, there's, I think, 8 core individuals. What do you think is going to happen going forward? Are they just going to scatter or deny everything?
Well, they're certainly going to deny everything.
Sure.
And we've seen them repeatedly respond by removing content. We talked about they remove content from the Internet Archive. They constantly take down stuff from their website. So they're going to do that.
Yep.
They've changed up their TDS since our last paper, which was in June. So they've changed up that. They're going to continue. They folded some companies we had linked directly to, hey, they're even calling themselves criminal. They folded those in May, so they'll continue. What we're hoping is twofold. One is by exposing them and making people realize it's not just them.
Yep.
This is a huge industry.
Yep.
Right? And we are not trying to do this all ourselves, so we want everyone to be helping out. And then we're putting out very complicated information, hopefully, so people can understand it, and we'll eventually get people in jail. And that's our ultimate goal.
Yeah. I mean, it wouldn't be a surprise if some members of Los Pollos ended up in jail. I mean, they pretend to be, Breaking Bad-esque hackers, so a little unusual. Well, Renee, I hope that this research does have an impact. Thank you so much for joining. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. I really appreciate it too.
And thank you for watching this segment of the Dark Reading News Desk. I'm Rob Wright, and we'll see you next time.